Hello, everyone. I wanted to make a quick video for you to help you with parallel and perpendicular lines in homework 2. I think there's two topics that deal with these, so I just wanted to kind of run through them with you. Okay, so two lines are parallel get this started here, if they don't intersect, right? They never hit each other. And that means, right, two parallel lines, picture two in your head. My two look like this, which means the tilt of the lines is the same. So two parallel lines have the same slope. Their slopes are equal. Okay, so that's parallel lines. And now perpendicular lines, two lines are perpendicular if they intersect at a 90-degree angle. So picture two perpendicular lines in your head. You might picture something like this, or maybe something like this. Either way, they have to intersect at a 90-degree or right angle. Now, we're going to be concerned with slope, especially of perpendicular lines. And so two perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other. That means the sign has to be different, plus or minus, and they're reciprocals of one another, which means they're upside down. So you have to flip it and reverse it, essentially, to find slopes of perpendicular lines. Okay, so parallel lines don't intersect at all. They have to have the same slope. And two lines are perpendicular if they intersect at a 90-degree angle. Their slopes have to be negative reciprocals of each other. Okay, so let's practice a couple of things here. I want to know if each pair of lines, right, in each of these I give you two lines. I want to know if those two lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Because you can be neither parallel nor perpendicular. For instance, these two lines. Those are neither parallel nor perpendicular. They intersect, but not at the right angle. All right, so this is a case of neither. You don't have to be one or the other. Okay, so if I'm going to determine whether this line and this line are parallel or perpendicular or neither, I need to know what their slopes are so that I can compare their slopes and figure out if their slopes are the same, then they're parallel, or if their slopes are negative reciprocals and they are perpendicular. Either way here, I have to figure out first what their slopes are. Okay, so if I wanted the slope of this line, 8x minus 5y equals 3, well, to find the slope of that line, I'm going to need to put it into y equals mx plus b format so that I can look at it and figure out what the slope is. So I need to solve for y. We know how to do this. Anything with a y on one side, anything with an x on the other side. So I'm going to move that 8x to the other side. So when I subtract 8x, I get negative 5y over here and 3 minus 8x over here. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5. And so y is going to be, again, I want y equals mx plus b, so I'm going to divide each thing here by that negative 5. So 3 divided by negative 5 is negative 3/5. Negative 8x divided by negative 5 gives me a positive 8x over 5. Because I want to write it as m times x, I'm going to write that as 8/5 times x. Okay, so now that I have that in y equals mx plus b form, what's the slope of that line? Well, y equals mx plus b. M is the number attached to the x. Again, if your brain can't process this, go ahead and reorganize that and put the 8/5 x first. So it would be 8/5 x minus 3/5, and you'll see that. So our slope is the number attached to the x. So our slope in this line is 8/5. Okay, that's the slope of this first line. What's the slope of my second line? This guy. Well, this is already in y equals mx plus b format, right? So here's mx plus b. So the slope of this line over here is m equals 8/5, right? Because that's our m. And so comparing these two, both of these lines have a slope of 8/5. Because they have the same slope, I know that these lines are parallel. They have the same slope. That's how I want you to work through these. So go ahead, hit pause, and I want you to try to solve all the rest of these. Do y equals mx plus b, find your slopes, and decide if they're the same, if they're negative reciprocals, or neither. And then when you're ready, start the video again. Okay, hopefully you have had a chance to work these through. So again, I'm going to get all of these in y equals mx plus b format. So I need to solve for y in each of these equations. So I'll start with this one, and I just have to divide both sides by 3 here. And so when I do that, I get y equals 4/3 x minus 1. And I'll do this one as well while I'm in solving mode here. To get y by itself, I need to put anything with a y on one side, anything without it on the other. So this negative 3x I need to move. So I'm going to add it to both sides to get it to move to the other side. So I'll have negative 4y is equal to, I'm going to write mx plus b here, right? I'm going to write the x first so it's in the right format. 3x plus 5. And to get y by itself here, I'm going to divide by negative 4. And I get y equals negative 3/4 x minus 5/4. Okay, so I've kind of done the algebra here to figure out to get these in y equals mx plus b format. My m in this first equation is right here, right? Y equals mx plus b. So my slope here is 4/3. And in the second line over here, again, y equals mx plus b. My m is negative 3/4. So I'm going to look at these two values, 4/3 and negative 3/4. Notice that they are negative reciprocals of each other. One is positive and one is negative. That means they have opposite signs. And one is upside down of the other one. So these are negative reciprocals. These lines are perpendicular. Perpendicular is a long word. There we go. These lines are perpendicular. Okay, let's try the next one. Again, I need to get y on its own, so I'm going to divide by 5 here, and I'm going to get y equals 2/5 x, and I want y by itself here. I can move the 5/2 over and then divide by a negative, but I'm actually just going to add y to both sides because then my y's will be on one side and everything else will be on the other. So 5/2 x equals y. In both of these, I have y by itself, so I have y equals mx plus b. So in this first one, what's my slope? Y equals mx. I know I don't have a plus b. Don't worry about it. That just means our b value is 0. So our slope is 2/5 here. And again, in the other one, we have y equals mx. and our b value is 0. So our m is 5/2 here. So I'm going to look at these and ask myself, are they the same? Are they negative reciprocals or neither? Well, they're not the same, and they are reciprocals, but they're not negative reciprocals because they don't have opposite signs. And so because they are reciprocals but not negative reciprocals, these guys are neither parallel nor perpendicular. Okay, and then this last one, x equals 1 and y equals 4. This one is harder because, again, we can't get y equals in this one to get the slope. And these are our oddballs where things cancel out, where variables disappeared. And I think it's the easiest way to do something like this is to picture these guys. So x equals 1. Well, this is a line where as long as your x coordinate is 1, y can be anything at once. So like if x is 1, y could be 0, and there's 1, 0, or x could be 1 and y could be 3. So I could have 1, 3. This is a vertical line through x equals 1. And y equals 4 is a horizontal line through y equals 4. Again, you can pick a couple points to see that. And so when I look at these two, I have a vertical and a horizontal line. These two are most definitely perpendicular. I think it's easier when you have these oddballs to just think about them as their own thing, instead of trying to kind of stick with the same process as pretty much everything else. So one's vertical and one's horizontal, so those guys are perpendicular. Okay, so that's how we tell if two lines are parallel or perpendicular. All right, these last two are the main ones that I wanted to go through. So we want to write the equation of the line that passes through 2, 5 and is parallel to the line 2x plus y equals 6. Okay, so we need to write the equation of a line. The line that we want to write the equation for goes through the point 2, 5, and it's parallel to this line. Notice this line, 2x plus y equals 6, that is not our line. That is a completely separate line. But our line needs to be parallel to that one. So how is our line connected to that one? Well, they're parallel, so that means it has to have the same slope as our line, right? Our line has to have the same slope as this one. Okay, so I need to write the equation of our line, right? It's going to pass through this point and be parallel to this. It's going to have the same slope as this other one. So that all being said, to write the equation of a line, I need a point and I need a slope. These are the necessary requirements to write the equation of any line. So, do I have a point on my line? I sure do. Our line passes through 2, 5. So I know that the point 2, 5 is on our line. And I need a slope. Do I know the slope of my line? Not yet. I'm not given that. Can I find the slope of our line? Well, we said that our line was parallel to this line, which means that our line has the same slope as that line. So let's find the slope of the line that we're given, and then we can find the slope of our line. Okay, so the slope of this other one, first we have to get y equals, so I'm going to solve for y, and we are going to subtract that 2x. This is in the way, I don't know why I decided to put that there. Okay. And then, so I'm going to subtract that 2x from both sides, and I'm going to get y equals negative 2x plus 6. So again, that is not our line. That is the equation of this other line that ours is parallel to. So what is the slope of this other line? it's -2, right? That's the slope of the other line. So the slope of the other line is -2. What's the slope of our line? Well, our line is parallel to that one, so it has to have the same slope. That means the slope of our line is also -2, right? Parallel. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Once we have a point and a slope, now we can write the equation of this line the same way that we did before. This is our x and our y. We have our m of -2, and we are going to plug that into y equals mx plus b. Our y is 5. Our m is -2. Our x is 2, and I don't know what b is. So let's solve for it. To solve for b, I need to simplify what I'm given. So I've got 5 equals -4 plus b. I'm going to add 4 to both sides to simplify, and I'm going to get that b equals 9. Recall that I know that the slope is -2. My b value is 9. And that means that the equation of my line is y equals m, which is -2, times x plus my b value of 9. This is the equation of our line. And I kind of rocketed through that because we covered this in class. Again, you're going to use y equals mx plus b twice. The first time to plug in your point and your slope to solve for b. The second time to plug in m and b and leave x and y as variables to get your general equation. So I know that was fast, and I apologize for that, but we did cover that in class, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. Okay, that is the equation of the line that is parallel to this other line and passes through 2, 5. All right, so let's try this next one. I want the equation of the line that passes through 5, 4, and now it's perpendicular to this other line. So remember, perpendicular, those slopes are negative reciprocals. Okay, so let's start. I have to write the equation of a line. To write the equation of a line, I need a point and I need a slope. We are given a point that lies on my line, so I know that 5, 4 is a point on my line. Do I have a slope of my line? No, I'm not just told the slope of my line. Can I find the slope of my line? Well, my line is perpendicular to this other line. Well, so since my line is perpendicular to this other one, the slope of my line is the negative reciprocal of the slope of this other line. So let's first find the slope of this other line, and then that will tell us what the slope of our line is. So again, I got to solve for y, so I'm going to subtract that x from both sides. So I have -2y equals -x plus 7. Divide both sides by -2, and I get y equals 1/2 times x minus 7 over 2. Again, I'm just dividing each of those by 2. Negative x divided by -2 is positive x over 2. I just moved the x to the side so I could see the m times x part. And then 7 divided by -2 is -7/2. All right, so that means that the slope of this other line is y equals mx plus b 1/2. That is the slope of the other line. Okay, so 1/2 is the slope of the other line. So we're going to use that to find the slope of our line. If the slope of that other perpendicular line is 1/2, then the slope of our line has to be the negative reciprocal of that other one. which means that our slope has to be negative, so it has the opposite sign, and the reciprocal, 2 over 1. That means our slope is negative 2. That was the hard part. Figuring out your slope is always the hard part. And so now that we have our point and our slope, you're going to plug your point xy and your slope m into y equals mx plus b. Y is 4, m is negative 2, x is 5, and I don't know, b. So I'm going to leave it as plus b and solve for it. So I'm going to combine these. 4 equals negative 10 plus b, and then I'm going to add that 10 to both sides. That means 14 is my b value. And so now I'm going to use my slope and my y-intercept, my b value here, to write my equation. And y equals m, which is negative 2, times x plus my b value of 14. Again, the second time that we are using y equals mx plus b, leave x and y, plug in m and b. And that, my friends, is parallel and perpendicular lines. I hope that helps with homework 2. Have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.